This is you. This is your life. And this is your stress, problem, and anxiety that you're suffering from.
Actually, you can meditate everywhere, anytime.
And this is mindfulness, breathing techniques, and cozy, aesthetic yoga centers to help you overcome stress. Oops, excuse me. I lied to you. The reality is slightly different. Today, a $6 billion industry serves a different intention. These centers and businesses are supposedly worth hundreds of millions of dollars and build multi-billion-dollar businesses. And you're telling me that this is not about money and this is just aesthetic Buddhist meditation practice when the only thing you need is a meditation mat and 5 minutes of your time? This entire thing is a rabbit hole.
And today I'm going to share with you some meditation.
This go-to wellness guru is no stranger to breaking the bank.
Please welcome Deepak Chopra.
Most Buddhists don't meditate. A lot of monks don't meditate.
And we'll begin with a breath meditation, just to sort of get us in the mood for experiencing the raisins in this way.
You've built an empire.
I built an empire. Yep.
Why do you think Americans are so fascinated by yoga?
That money is the main cause of misery and unhappiness in a lot of people.
Business absolutely boomed. We grew 60% Jan on Jan.
One time I see the advertisement that 7 days to the enlightenment.
You come at this as a practicing Buddhist who has seen how this mindfulness industry has corrupted, distorted, and I would even say you would agree, betrayed.
There's no end to the myriad of fraudulent claims out there that take money out of people's pockets and occasionally stop them from getting proper treatment and proper diagnosis.
Still with me? Great. Then let's not waste any more time. Mindfulness is not a tool, it's a path. By definition, mindfulness is a state of awareness when you focus your attention on the present. The main goal is to achieve non-judgment when you don't respond critically to everything around you. But when we think of the initial goal of this movement, which is a growing compassion to help others get freedom, I witness a clear distinction between this sacred duty and worldly desires.
Business absolutely boomed. We grew 60% Jan on Jan over the last 1 year.
New Yorkers can catch a break from the weekly grind by finding their zen aboard a meditation bus.
We are here at one of the Chopra retreats. I hope you'll join us.
In the future, this one is sold out.
Today, corporate mindfulness, or the humorous term MAC mindfulness, has transformed a silent practice of breathing into a massive industry with a $1.5 billion in annual revenue. Americans of various faiths or none at all practice mindful eating, mindful sex, mindful parenting, mindfulness in the office, mindful sports, mindfulness-based stress relief, and addiction recovery, and hire mindful divorce lawyers. Mindfulness is taught by members of Congress, CEOs, and Silicon Valley tech gurus, and is even being taught in public schools, hospitals, and the military. Mindfulness is a popular cure-all for Americans' daily problems.
I'd love to talk to him about it, or anybody in his administration, or anybody in the Democratic leadership. I think that we need more mindfulness in Washington.
Well, I definitely think that there's some politicians who could use some meditation. There's no doubt about that.
A massive and a lucrative industry which promotes mindfulness in every aspect of life. But wait for a second. Was it always like this? A funny part of this story is well described by Jeff Wilson in his book Mindful America, which shares that the oldest Buddhist churches of America the Pure Land is filled with the Buddhists who didn't meditate. Not at all. It's a common misunderstanding, a mass market bias about Buddhism that it's mainly about meditation and Asia. But when did this tectonic shift happen and why? Buddhist teacher and psychotherapist Miles Neal coined the term mock mindfulness, which he describes as the feeding frenzy of spiritual practices that provide immediate nutrition but no long-term sustenance.
Mindfulness is a term I coined in 2010 as a kind of critique of our cultural situation or context in which meditation had been extrapolated from Eastern traditions and really gone mainstream.
And mindfulness term is a play on the franchise McDonald's, how its founder Ray Kroc created the fast food industry. He grew the chain into a global empire. Much of today's mindfulness and meditation is the fast food of problem solving. It turns out that mindfulness can make a person rich too.
This go-to wellness guru is no stranger to breaking the bank, worth $80 million.
That money is the main cause of misery and unhappiness in a lot of people.
Then there are other suggestions presented by John Kabat-Zinn, a dedicated practitioner of meditation. He had a vision in the midst of a retreat that was assured to make a big difference in people's lives who suffered from physical pain, stress, and anxiety. He had the act of genius of rebranding mindfulness to feed a secular spiritual need. What Kabat-Zinn provided was the opportunity to offer busy Americans easy access to MBSR, which is a mindfulness through an 8-week mindfulness course for stress reduction taught via standardized curriculum. And it's strange, considering mindfulness is a typical very customized and personalized. But modern mindfulness mostly ignores the ethical framework, its roots and proper context. Even regular meditation retreats became drastically different. It's like a show, a performance, where yoga masters come to amaze you with a truth only they know. Everyone is listening, laughing, applauding, and joining them in their meditation. And all this glorification strokes their egos and makes the mindfulness industry more like the wellness industry, which is usually heavily promoted by celebrities and influencers.
Why do you think Americans are so fascinated by yoga? It seems like everywhere you go, there's a yoga studio.
Because of me.
You've built an empire.
I built an empire. Yep. Why not? 500 million people has been benefited directly, indirectly from Bikram yoga around the globe.
And Buddhist monks who originated it never seem to view wealth in a favorable light.
The money is not the goal.
But if my consideration is correct, then what the hell was I witnessing in these interviews, luxury centers, TV programs, and moreover, some of these gurus? You've got this guru. Deepak Chopra is making money from his Chopra Center, a swanky business that offers retreats all over US, for which people have to pay just to get on the waitlist. Why?
Oh, don't tell me it's another article about Deepak Chopra being #1.
Because everything is sold out always, that's why. Chopra's branding and marketing have done a masterful job. Why would some be content with a seemingly perpetual queue to go to a retreat? The answer is simple. It offers hope and a sense of moving forward. Those who remain in the queue will get meditation sessions and the company of famous stars like Oprah. Let's not forget that Chopra is a frequent guest of the most famous US daytime and nighttime shows.
Please welcome Deepak Chopra!
Deepak Chopra's podcast, Mind Body, aid of world-renowned self-help guru, Deepak Chopra.
He does this all for the good of those he helps, right? I'm not saying that he is not a nice guy. I'm saying that he is a very rich guy.
What does Deepak Chopra have that I don't have?
On June 17, 2021, Deepak Chopra listed his super spiritual, scenic, swirling home for $5.6 million in a Liala's country club neighborhood. And this luxury house had 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, with views of the ocean and golf courses. He also claims that the most of his income was from his career as a physician, public speaker, film producer, and author. Yes, luxury retreats, online courses, and meditation apps have nothing to do with it. Jon Kabat-Zinn has also done well in his pursuit of mindfulness for all. He is the founder of Stress Reduction Clinic and the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare and Society. In 2021, he had a $7.5 million net worth, and his Center for Mindfulness net worth was staggering $45 million. He is a co-founder and teacher at tens of other centers and a frequent guest of many TEDx conferences. He is a medicine emeritus professor. He conducted about a zillion research studies on mindfulness at his MBSR research centers. But here is a rub. He has a way more money than your regular average emeritus professor who ends their career with just some regular savings after a lifetime of service on a professor's salary. Kabat-Zinn hit the jackpot as his line of research paid off in a very literal and extremely lucrative ways. And the list of wealthy gurus goes on. Rob Dude, owner of Image One, a $18 million revenue company, is known for his speaking engagements on mindful leadership, meditation, and entrepreneurship. Michael Beckwith, a founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center and a New Thought minister. He has a net worth of $17 million. Sharon Salzberg, she is a New York Times bestselling author of tens of books rooted in mindfulness with the revenues that earn her about $2 million annually. And these examples just touch the tip of the iceberg. The mindfulness and yoga adepts happily offer you these services at a price that helps them to grow more profitable in business. The more you donate, the better and more significant promises you will get. Look, it's not a begrudging someone the chance to make money. I don't mind that. What I'm interested in is the integrity involved in the process. And honestly speaking, when I see these gurus' incomes, precious centers, and 2,000 paid coaching sessions, I believe that Buddhism didn't mean that when it was created. I feel that it shouldn't be like this. Why does this entire industry look more like a well-advised mass market product than a sacred personal activity you have to do alone at home when nobody sees you? How can you preach asceticism and still run a huge business with billions of revenue where money is the king? And trying to find answers, I read a lot of researches and watched hundreds of videos. And that was the moment of discovery when I found out about the magic healing. Are you suffering from chronic pain? Practice mindfulness for pain relief. Work under stress and feel underpaid? Practice mindfulness to be more mindful at work. Don't like your colleagues? Practice mindfulness for corporate wellness. You can even enjoy Mother's Heaven magic if you or your family members have problems. Pay for mindfulness practice anywhere, at the retreat centers, online, while listening to podcasts or in a corporate headquarters. It's all for you. Breathe in, breathe out. And you know, I'm totally fine with these breathing yoga techniques and meditations. I can believe that somehow it helps someone. But I'm not fine with the mindfulness breathing practices are coined as a game changers and a magic healing. This idea that you can solve all problems by controlling your inner stress, developing empathy and compassion to free your spirit seems, bogus. And all is quite well until the moment when this a kind of game-changing idea merges with the full power of marketing and sales techniques to attract more people by over-promising and under-delivering.
One time I see the advertisement that 7 days to the enlightenment and a person flying in the air.
Today, all of this looks more like a marketing and sales funnel that is used in the real business. For instance, some centers and communities offer you magic healing and their gurus are organizing 21-day retreats and claiming it's totally free. But how does it work? It turns out free can come with a price. This is a typical marketing hook, a lead generation where you first get something without paying, then they upsell you with something more valuable and long-lasting, and it almost always costs much more money. And US market offers a rich pool of meditation centers and free mindfulness activities. Many of them rely on donations to continue operation. It's like a giving to a charity. At least that is what they claim. And I'm not IRS. I don't want to say that they're doing something wrong. And all it takes is to critically look at this to quickly understand that the promise of mindfulness being a panacea or magic healing of all problems is unrealistic, misleading, and maybe even harmful. And it seems that it's just a business illusion built around these false claims and around a very simplified instrument that helps generate wealth for the one who created it. And in fact, it does generate a great deal of money, much more than Buddha made in his entire life. Magic healing, the illusion of a miracle we want, the illusion that you can get rid of all of your problems. And meditation is indeed a tool for reducing stress and anxiety. Scientists say so, and about 10 million Americans who meditate prove it's working.
On a daily basis, you meditate still every day?
About 5 years now.
Okay. How's it going?
Good. And the person that got me to do it is my doctor. He says, I can't fix you. Aren't physical, your problems are emotional and mental.
But can it be a treatment when the person is in a deep depression or needs medication? In psychiatry, magical thinking is a thought disorder. A person has a false belief that someone's thoughts or words can cause or prevent any particular action, which contradicts the generally accepted laws of causation. Popularly, this is called reality transforming or astrology, or other know-how terms brought to you by the industry of happiness.
Connection to nature, personal development, psychology, belief in a country where everything has a price tag, even happiness. This is big business. It is reaching every level of society.
In 2014, Time magazine put a youthful blonde woman on its cover, blazing out above the words, "The Mindful Revolution." The accompanying feature described a signature theme from the standardized course teaching MBSR, eating a raisin very slowly.
This is the raisin meditation. Before beginning, you want to start with 2 raisins in a glass of water.
Back to our everyday lives. Now you're doing that. Just put it in your mouth, but don't bite it. Just put it in your mouth
And the author of the book Mindfulness, How Mindfulness Became the New Capitalist Spirituality, Ronald Parser, explained this case and how fake and simplified people tried to make mindfulness approaches.
Mindfulness became the new capitalist spirituality. What makes your book, I think, so interesting and thoughtful is that you come at this as a practicing Buddhist who has seen how this mindfulness industry has corrupted, distorted, and I would even say you would agree, betrayed the essence of Buddhism.
Eventually, you're going to eat the raisin slowly. Then what are you left with? Anything that offers success in our unjust society without trying to change, it's not a revolutionary. It just helps people cope. And in fact, it could also be making things worse. And instead of encouraging radical action, mindfulness says the causes of suffering are disproportionately inside us, not in the political and economic frameworks that shape how we live. And there is a good research I found in the well-known Cognitive Behavior Practice Journal, published by the National Library of Medicine, about the influence of meditation on health disparities. In one study, they used meditation for treating depressed, low-income African American women with multiple stressors. With this study, the physicians engaged in the trial made their best effort to involve as many African American women from a local rehabilitation centers as possible. They arranged transportation and childcare and even provided food. 50 women suffering from domestic violence, homelessness, mental disorders, and other serious traumas in the past participated. Daily breathe-in, breathe-out sessions lasted for 10 weeks, and the results were really magic. 10% accepted their problems to live in harmony with them, and the remaining 90% just quit the program. One another, even more surprising story that blew my mind. Chait Meng-Tan was the 107th employee of Google, and one day he decided to solve the world peace problem by healing his colleagues. And like Kabat-Zinn, Meng-Tan quickly realized that meditation wouldn't work on Google in its initial Buddhist sense, so he transferred breathing practice into the mainstream that helped Google to make a shitload of money. And the Search Inside Yourself course Meng-Tan started at Google became the company's most popular personal development course. There were no healing goals at all. But who needs that when you are searching inside yourself, right? The truth was the illusion of meditation just helped to close people's eyes on severe corporate problems like 80-hour work weeks, unrealistic expectations from bosses, low salaries, and corporate burnout. Corporations are trying to hide the fundamental problems with the help of mindfulness centers, which are convincing everyone that meditation can provide a company corporate wellness and magic healing for all employees.
What are you gonna fire me? No! I already fired you! Why are you still here?
For big companies, mindfulness is a very easy instrument to shift focus from companies to the problems inside of you, to focus on your individuality versus focusing on problems of systematic structural issues, because that's easier and cheaper. American psychologist Brad Stetka published his work in Scientific American Journal, which states that he made his own independent study that reveals a review of 47 scientific medical meditation trials and yoga retreats, collectively including over 3,500 participants. And no evidence was found that meditation helps with serious mental issues. So what is really going on? Why we are observing this illusion of miracle more often than what seems realistic? Why are we feeling like this pursuit of mindfulness works for everyone besides us? What we are observing is a communication of mindfulness. We are observing this because retreat centers, spiritual institutes, and other institutions like this are making tons of money from people's desire to calm down and gain inner peace. And sometimes the programs are literally on the edge of absurdity. For instance, the workshop Making Peace with Your Own Shadow sells for a whopping $700, and it will teach you to learn into your shadow's wisdom. Sounds like a strange title? Maybe. But this program by Cooper Beach Institute was recorded with a $5 million in revenue, most of which was in the form of donations. Can these programs help you? I have my doubts, and so do other researchers, doctors, and psychiatrists.
Homeopathy, reflexology,
A number of these procedures are based on zero science. There's no end to the myriad of fraudulent claims out there that take money out of people's pockets and occasionally stop them from getting proper treatment and proper diagnosis.
And this is all big problem, but not the biggest one to consider. The most important thing is to ensure that these fake programs don't harm. A promise of magic healing when it's impossible to help you without a professional medical treatment is actual harm. It's a significant danger. This is a form of cognitive dissonance. It's impossible to ignore. This is where the real problem with the mindfulness industry starts. I'm not a certified psychologist or therapist, but chronic unhappiness sounds like depression. Something threatening which highly qualified doctors with authentic diplomas and medical practices should treat.
Depression is a disorder which makes you sad. It robs you of your energy.
Well, look, 1 out of 5 young women before the age of 25 is experiencing a major depressive episode.
In the case of chronic unhappiness, we will not be able to heal yourself with the breathing, and you will need help from outside. Mindfulness gurus, yoga masters, and the mock mindfulness industry pretend to teach you to be happy and healthy by simply buying their books, visiting their retreat sessions, and donating to their activities to make the mission complete. So, what do we get at the end of the day? What do we get at the end of this story? A placebo effect. It's when you're paying a vast amounts of money and convincing yourself that it should help you.
I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better, I am better!
We try to be the most successful, the most efficient, the most productive, and at the same time, the most peaceful. We want immediate success. We don't want to overwork. We don't want pain. But at the same time, we want a quick pill to solve your complicated problems that have been forming since childhood. But there isn't such magic as a quick solution to complicated problems. And in this way, mindfulness, MBSR, yoga retreats, and all this multi-billion industry provide us with a chance, an opportunity for harmony. But it's not just the kind of harmony it was intended to invoke. And finally, at the end of this video, none of my thoughts and facts means that mindfulness ought to be banned or that anyone who finds it useful is deluded. Reducing suffering is a noble aim and it should be encouraged. But to do this effectively, teachers of mindfulness need to acknowledge that personal stress also has social causes. By failing to address collective suffering and systematic change that might remove it, they rob mindfulness of its real revolutionary potential, reducing it to something banal that keeps people focused on themselves. The fact is, mindfulness does work in some or another way. There is a little question about that. The big concern for me is that the money it brings to its gurus tells me who it works for. Breathe in, breathe out.